The NBA playoffs haven't started, but we have a pretty good idea of who the Lakers are going to play. How should the Chargers' offense change under a new coordinator, Kellen Moore? And UCLA's Dante Moore isn't your average 17-year-old kid from Detroit. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is April 9th, 2023. It is a glorious Easter Sunday. He is risen. Take a moment. Thank the Lord for the blessings that you have in your life. And the blessings that I have, among other things, well, we added a couple of new subscribers to the Angelino Familia last night. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. And if you like the content we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. It's a good thing. Busy day yesterday. Before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. And to be honest, there was a lot of terrible looks yesterday. Arizona 12, Dodgers 8. Just not the Dodgers' night. Noah Syndergaard gave up 6 earned runs in 4 innings. Jason Hayward and James Outman each hit their 3rd homer of the year. Dodgers are in a 3-way tie for first. Clippers 136, Portland 125. Kawhi Leonard scored 27 points to lead the Clippers. They have 1 game left in the regular season. The Clips have sewn up the number 5 seed in the Western Conference. Colorado edged the Kings 4-3. The Kings, unfortunately, backing into the Stanley Cup playoffs, which start, I believe, later this week. Houston 3, Galaxy 0. There is a rapid recap of that match on the Galaxy playlist. After what I watched, I wondered aloud if the Galaxy, winless in their first 6 matches this year, have completely given up. Completely unprofessional performance last night by the Blue and Gold. Finally, LAFC 3, Austin 0. Dennis Bouanga scored a hat trick. The man has 9 goals this calendar year. Terrific start for him. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Arizona at 12:30. Michael Grove, 0-0 with a 6.75 ERA for the Dodgers. Ryan Nelson, 5.40 ERA for the Diamondbacks. Utah is playing the Lakers this afternoon at 12:30. And look, it's a done deal. The Lakers, they are ensconced in the play-in tournament no matter what happens at the end of the day. Clippers finish the regular season at Phoenix at 12:30. Side note, Paul George has begun to work out again, but there is no timetable for his return from a sprained right knee. Now, should the Lakers win that first play-in tournament game, and as it stands, they probably should because they are hosting New Orleans, they will finish the season in the number 7 spot. If that's the case, they would face the 2nd-seeded Memphis Grizzlies, who for the most part, they are for the most immature of reasons, the Grizzlies see this as a rivalry matchup. You might recall there was this idiotic incident involving Shannon Sharpe, and I think it was Ja Morant's dad. The Grizzlies social media guy hasn't forgotten it, to be sure, and it's kind of a shame because Memphis, despite being a violent, gritty little city, it's also kind of charming and a fascinating place to be as well. They turned the hotel, for example, where Martin Luther King was assassinated into a civil rights museum. It's an extremely interesting place to be. There's a lot of great music there. It's a shame that this series, before it even starts, if it starts, has to be this petty. So assume for the moment that it will be the Grizzlies. Because again, I do believe the Lakers should beat New Orleans in the play-in tournament. Morant is a top 10 player in the league, and he causes a lot of matchup problems for the Lakers. They used to call their style way back in the day grizz and grind overall, and I think that they still play that kind of basketball. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a possibility for Defensive Player of the Year. Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, they're also reliable on defense, particularly on the perimeter. Here's the problem. They don't score. They don't. They don't shoot well from the outside. We don't even believe that they're going to have an inside game for this particular series either. Steven Adams, their center, it was reported yesterday that he's likely to miss the postseason due to a knee injury. So the point is, on paper, should the Lakers get out of the play-in round and have the 7th seed, I could easily see an upset in the first round with the Lakers taking out Memphis. Of course, considering it's Memphis, I could also see bullets flying in the process, but that's just me. When the Chargers fired offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi after that first round exit from the NFL playoffs in Jacksonville, Coach Brandon Staley stressed that he wanted a marriage of the run and the pass. So the Athletic looked at the play calling of new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore from his time in Dallas, and from that they started to form a few opinions. 1, the Cowboys run the ball on first down way more than the Bolts ever did. Way more. Now that, however, does require a couple things that we'll get to in a moment. The Chargers ran on first down the 5th fewest number of times in the NFL. So the idea that you want to say is the Chargers have to expect to run. And not only do they have to expect to run, they have to be so efficient at it that the other team expects the Chargers to run. Secondly, over the years in Dallas, Moore, because they was able to establish the running game, it also established an increased reliance on play action pass calls to try to relieve the pressure off of the quarterback over there, Dak Prescott, and presumably to do the same off of the quarterback in Los Angeles, Justin Herbert. Now, all of that sounds simple, but it isn't. And here's why. The Chargers would have to make changes to its roster in order to accommodate Kellen Moore's offense. For example, the Cowboys, yes, they love to run, but one of the reasons that they were able to run was they ran a 2 tight end formation a lot of times. 2 tight ends. Additional blocking. The Chargers are not deep at tight end. They don't even have a single effective blocking tight end on their entire roster. So Dallas, they would line up with the 2 tight ends. Everybody expected to run. And of course, with everybody expecting the Cowboys to run, that meant more defenders coming up into the box. That's what opened the play option pass. The Chargers, in my opinion, whether it be through free agency or whether it be through the draft, have to add blocking tight ends in order to make this offense work. Now, would you like an extra reason, by the way, why Lombardi was fired? You saw enough of the Chargers offense last year to formulate your own opinions, but Lombardi worked under Sean Payton in New Orleans. New Orleans played up-tempo with its offense. Payton liked to think of it as kind of like a reverse blitz, a blitz on the defense, right? The Chargers rarely went no huddle on offense. They rarely went up-tempo. Dante Moore, the number 2 recruit from the nation out of Detroit, has enrolled at UCLA, and he's still only 17. Now, that's a pretty big ask for a 17-year-old, you know, because if you're like me, when you turn on the news, you read, all you hear about is how immature the next generation is. You know, how they have all these crazy things, just like people used to say that we were immature when we were that age. But I have to tell you, Moore did a remarkably mature thing. He sought the counsel of former UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson on how to run the Bruins offense. That's bright. That's extremely smart. Considering the other 4 quarterbacks on the roster have college experience, picking Thompson-Robinson's brain is a fine idea. Absolutely. Had the fortitude to do it, did do it, presumably trying to get a leg up. Credit him for his maturity. The Dodgers' Max Muncy spent a year, over a year actually, to try to get his health back after that ugly elbow injury at the end of 2021. And to be honest with you, it's still not working yet. It's not. He said his swing was coming back during spring training. That may be the case. He's hitting just 129, however. So the numbers don't back that up. Not on defense either, because he is playing exclusively at third base. The heir apparent for Justin Turner, he's already committed a couple of errors. Dave Roberts was blunt, quote, it hasn't been great, unquote. Now keep in mind, Muncy was not exactly a liability when he played first base, but if you think the Dodgers are moving Freddie Freeman away from first, you're out of your mind. It's not happening. Now for his part, Muncy is doing extra pregame work with Coach Dino Ebel and Freeman, but the results have not arrived. Point guard Boogie Ellis has decided to return to USC for a 5th year of eligibility, and this creates an interesting issue for the Trojans basketball program. Ellis originally said he was out in March. The reason that he has a 5th year of eligibility is that the NCAA gave it to everybody. This was in response to all the lockdowns due to COVID a couple of years ago. He comes back as USC's leading scorer from the previous year. But now the Trojans are actually overloaded at guard. Yeah, consider Isaiah Collier of Georgia, considered the 3rd best prospect in the country. He's going to USC. LeBron James' son, Bronny, has USC listed as one of his finalists. There are 5 or 6 guards currently on the USC roster, and that doesn't even count Bronny James if he decides to go play for the Trojans. So how much playing time does Boogie Ellis get? Or for that matter, do the Trojans sit there and say, you know what, we're going to play small next year? Also a possibility. Mikey Anderson has returned to practice for the Kings, although he is wearing a red jersey, which means don't hit him. Anderson was cracked about a week and a half ago up in Edmonton. The Kings have struggled without his responsible defensive play. Weird note, Adrian Kempe likes bananas as a taco topping. I'll wait for you to stop puking. You done? Good. I want to be fair to the guy, so I asked my wife, who's an executive chef, if that possibly makes sense. And she replies, maybe he means plantains. Are they Dominican? No. Honey, the man plays hockey. Then it's gross, she said. Adrian Kempe, lots of goals, very gross individual. But as far as I'm concerned, I think he has 37 goals. If that's the case, he could put pickles on a cupcake as far as I'm concerned. Odell Beckham Jr. will visit the New York Jets this week, according to sources, so that's an issue for the Rams potentially. Some blogger, meanwhile, tried to compare the Rams offseason to the current champion, the Kansas City Chiefs. Because, hey, the Chiefs got rid of all their stars on defense, and so did the Rams. Isn't that right? You know what? For once, Fox News is right. When you take fentanyl, it kills your brain. That's all I can say. UCLA has landed a replacement for one of 3 guards who have left the program. Lazar Stefanovic of Serbia has transferred to play for the Bruins. He went to Utah last year. Now, to be honest, I have no idea how or what role he fills. He was only a spot starter for the Utes, and he only averaged about 10 points a game. So it's not really that big of a deal, if you ask me. Trash talk in basketball. It goes way better than bananas and tacos. So yeah, it is true that Russell Westbrook of the Clippers, former Laker, was caught on camera chirping at Lakers LeBron James during Wednesday's game. After the game, Westbrook said his time with the Lakers, quote, was an experience. I'm past it now, in a new place and looking forward, unquote. Now look, it's obviously not true if he's talking crap. I get that. If the Lakers and the Clippers meet in the playoffs, which is unlikely, and after the series, both Westbrook and James air all their dirty laundry, so be it. But until then, it's one game. It's a regular season game late in the year. Maybe just quash it. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about Dante Moore consulting Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or how the Chargers offense might change for next year. Or for that matter, do you believe the Lakers are going to play the Grizzlies? And if so, do you forecast the upset? And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos, because we're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.